Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rhodey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to episode 5 of All the Gear But No Idea. Diz, how are you?
Good, mate. Good. How are you? You got me on Zoom there?
Yeah, I've got you. We're very appropriately socially distancing, so it's a good lesson for you all.
Absolutely. We're getting around it. I hope you all got a chance to listen into Tommy Jonas' episode last week. He was sharing some bit on Facebook and Instagram. It was a great episode, wasn't it, Rhodey?
Yep, we've had lots of comments, lots of interaction on the socials, which has been great.
Yep, and if you do get around us, you never know, you might get a stubby in the post.
Yep. Johnny Giannini certainly hit us up with a great question and we flicked him out an extra one. So that's a bit of incentive for you all.
Who we got today, Rhodey?
We've got a real treat for you all today, guys. Double guests, yep. 2 on the episode today. We've got Daniel Waye. He is the man behind the Fishing Guru. So he makes all those bloody great rigs that we take out in the boat and even you can catch a fish using his rigs, mate.
No, they won't come loose. Hand tied. What a great man. We'll hear from him later. And we've got Leigh from Leigh's Marine, a mobile mechanic. He services our boat. He does a fantastic job, efficient, reliable and everything. We'll have a chat with him later. Rhodey, quick update on the merch, mate. Still stubby holders around, isn't there?
Yep, there is a few left, but they are selling well. The Sando boys sort of pillaged them a little bit out to the Clare Valley.
They did. They reduced our stocks, and we've got some more merch in the pipelines.
Yeah, as this COVID sort of wraps up, the rest of the merch will become available. But at the moment, just the stubby holders, $10 each, or 3 for $25. And we love seeing you post your pictures on the socials.
We do. That's fantastic. All right, let's hook into oranges and lemons. Rhodey, what's the orange and the lemon for the week, mate? Go for it.
Orange is this painting coming to an end. Been painting the house, had nothing else to do in isolation. Bloody hate painting.
Horrible.
So I'm happy that it's just about over.
Horrible gear.
And my lemon would be, there's just not really an end in sight.
Yeah.
This COVID's dragging on, isn't it?
It's tough, isn't it?
And even with the numbers dropping in SA, they just keep telling us that the restrictions are here to stay.
We're relying on Bill Gates to pull a vaccine out of his backside,
So
aren't we?
I don't know what to do. The footy's still a long way off.
Yeah.
I can't see the next time we're going to catch up for a beer at the pub.
Oh, yeah, I know. We want to see Tommy Jonas out back on the park, don't we, the Port Boys?
We do. Got to get around the power.
Absolutely. All right, my orange has been plenty of time on my hands, scrolling around the net, found on boat sales the boat of my dreams. Absolutely fantastic stabby, beautiful, perfect for us. Probably my lemon, though, for the week is the fact there's no chance I can bloody afford the thing.
Mate, we'll get the boat.
We'll get
Don't worry about that.
All right, I like your optimism, so we'll get around that. But yeah, not much happening on that front. Let's go into a bit of coronavirus news, Rhodey. SA Police, they've put the word out there. We are allowed to go fishing, but the rules do apply. Still social distancing. You must keep to those rules, and we'll be able to get through this all together. Non-essential travel to rural areas is strongly discouraged, so do not do it. Don't be travelling to those regions like we've talked about.
And unfortunately, I think they class fishing as non-essential activity, do they, Diz?
Yes.
So you can't travel for fishing?
No, you can't. You can't. And Victoria, they've put a complete ban to it. They have got on-the-spot fines, $1,600. You just cannot do it.
So I suppose we're just glad that's not the case in SA. So that's a minor positive that you can go out and do your local fishing as long as you don't have to travel.
We've seen Sammy Newman carry on like a pelican on Facebook, and he's not happy about golf being called off. But we're a bit luckier here in South Australia, and we'll be able to keep doing a few of those things. All right, Rhodey, tell us about the guest.
All right, welcome to the show, Daniel Waye. Daniel runs The Fishing Guru, an online fishing store where you can hit it up and get all your gear and stuff on his eBay store. Daniel, welcome.
G'day guys, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you, Daniel. Absolutely fantastic time for all the listeners to get out there now, buy some tackle online and support you. We're all about supporting local business. Daniel, we'll get into your store and things a bit later, but I reckon the first and most important bit, let's get through the first 5 questions. Tell us about your best fish, mate.
test fish, bro. I've still got plenty of big fish on the bucket list.
Yeah.
Obviously, we got a few there, but I think probably my favourite fish is one that derived from a drunken eBay purchase of all things. We had I got a mate that he comes around and we have a few sarsaparillas, and every time we get a 6-pack down or whatever, we generally do something silly like spend up some cash on eBay for something stupid. And this one particular night, we came up with the amazing idea of we were going to go out and buy some remote control boats and see if we could convert them into a fish slaying device. So we picked up our boats. We picked them up from an Aussie seller to make sure that we got them nice and quick. And once they came in, we went through them. We painted them up, and of course I plastered mine with Guru stickers. And, we decked them out. So his was a lot more intricate. He had a full reel system with remote control and everything. Mine, I just took a broken tip off a rod and stuck it on the back with a glue gun. And we took them down to Westlake. So as soon as we hit the water, it was like brim mayhem, and we were smashing all the little ones. And it seemed to be holding up all right, the boats. And we decided to put a couple of bigger baits on and bigger rigs. And the big 30, 40 centimetre brims started coming in. And mate, it was so much fun. We had so much, there was so much banter during the day. We were sort of, we nearly lost the boat a few times. And I think I did actually drown mine in the end. But his was a lot better setup, and we ended up taking it out later and smashing squid off Merino and everything.
Oh, wow.
Great. Nice.
Can we expect the prototype to make its way onto the website anytime soon?
Maybe. I don't know if anyone wants a drowned boat. I've got it up. I made a little wooden frame up for it. I've got it up in the workshop to remind me how stupid I am when I get on the turf.
All right, Daniel, what's your favourite thing about fishing, mate?
I think for me, I mean, one favourite thing for me, and obviously where our business name's derived from is the fact that we're always learning, So doesn't matter how experienced you are, there's always more that you can learn. But for me, my absolute favourite thing is probably the people. The amount of people, amazing people that I've met, sort of over the years through fishing personally and through the business as well, like other small business owners and customers. I've got amazing customers that have been so good. We're now mates. We go out fishing consistently, and I just find it spins me out how you can go away with good people for a few days and you can have the worst fishing trip you've ever had. You won't land a freaking fish the whole time, and yet you walk away from that trip and just the people, really made it worthwhile, and that's the memories you have sitting around the campfire or, whatever. So I think the people is probably my favourite thing about fishing, guys.
Absolutely, and I think you're right. All the Facebook pages and little community activities we have, everyone gets around each other and supports one another, which particularly during these times is even more important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the local scene, it has a clique. There is a clique, and there's some people out there that don't see the same way as us. But there's a lot more people that do, and the local community, the local fishing community, from the people that go out to fish right up to the small businesses to these Facebook groups, they're really, really supportive of each other, and in my experience, everyone sort of wants to help each other out and really get in there and make sure that everybody is successful and enjoys this pastime that we all love so much. So
absolutely. And so was that sort of what got you into fishing, a bit of a community sort of aspect, or what was your first fishing memory, Daniel?
Not necessarily. I mean, that's sort of what came out. That's the result of being so passionate, I think, more than what got us into it. So I think what got us into it, my first memory, I had a bit of a think about it, and really it's the camping. We used to go camping a lot, and I think it was either Kim or Pez previously touched on it, up the river. So my parents used to take us away a lot up around Barmera, Cobdoblin, Cobdobla, sorry, I get in trouble all the time. On the end. Catarapto Creek, Loch Luna, all those sort of areas. And what we used to do is it was a really cheap sort of family holiday, so we did it really consistently, where we just sort of camp on the riverbank. And my parents weren't really fishers. They they don't mind fishing, but it wasn't really, in their nature. So I was sort of self-taught. So while we were sitting by the river, you chuck a, cheap $15, Kmart sort of combo out and slay the carp and catch your shrimp in the nets and stuff. And I think I really caught the bug from there. And moving on from there, everything was pretty much self-taught because apart from watching the odd Rex hunt on TV, because that was about all that was around at the time back in the early 90s. So, it was. I picked up a couple of mates early in primary school that were really into it as well, and we used to load up our BMX bikes and ride them all the way from sort of Happy Valley, Aberfoyle Park, all the way down to Port Noarlunga for the day. And it was really good to actually caught some fish and had to try and figure out how the heck to get them home. So, and I'm still really good mates with those guys now. One of them was the one that we did the remote control boat sort of deal with. So, it's just building those relationships and building that knowledge over the years. And obviously that helps to, increase the drive and the passion for fishing as well. So, yeah.
I think it's really great how these 5 questions you can relate to everyone else's answers. You talked about, Pez and Kim having similar memories growing up on the river, and I can certainly relate to watching Rex Hunt as a kid and thinking he was the absolute bee's knees and he was the guru. So it's good that we can all.
You know what, guys? For those listening at home at the podcast later on when it pops up, Rhodey and Diz actually send us the questions before to give us a bit of a heads up so they don't spring us on the spot, right? And I was looking at the favourite thing about fishing, and I had about 4 answers, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, like this answer here is what Boyd said the other day. and then I was going to run, and that was the teaching people and all that sort of stuff. And then I was like, oh, you know what? The banter side's really good. I was like, God damn it, Stu did that. It's
Great minds think alike.
But there's so much great stuff to pull from, guys. So,
certainly.
I think it's just a matter of, it's not so much the favourite, it's just the fishing in general is just amazing, I think. So.
And so what is your favourite sort of fishing and why, Dan?
My favourite sort of fishing is probably going back to the roots. So even today, I love all sorts of fishing. Don't get me wrong. I was very lucky to have an amazing session on the tuna with a local business owner, James, who owns Troll So Hard Lewis. It was a week after the Coast to Coast. So after I donated on the Coast to Coast, I went out a week later and we had an amazing session. And that was just phenomenal. I couldn't move for a week. I was that sore. But, all that, every type of fishing is great. But I think my favourite type of fishing is that sort of where you go away for a few days with a few good blokes. You have a bit of a camp out, So I've upgraded from the swag. I've upgraded to one of those little Jayco Swan band things, so we're a lot more comfortable these days. You set that up and you have a campfire and you sit around on the bank with a couple of beers and, every now and then the rod bell goes off and there's a callop or a carp or something, or if you're on the beach, you set up on the beach with your little campfire and you got the mulloway pops up every now and then, or, I think that's my favourite. It's not so much about the fishing side of it, but the whole experience of the, whether it's 2 days or 2 weeks,
Absolutely.
That's my favourite, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Getting away, it's what it's all about. And Dan, I'd be very confident you'd have a few funny fishing stories from a couple of those trips, or at least one that got away, mate.
Yeah, we've got 1 or 2. Look, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of fish that got away. I made a stupid mistake about 11 years ago and registered a business name called The Fishing Guru. So I didn't do myself any favours there because, it's a certain reputation you got to try and uphold. But I think probably the funniest story I could pull out off the top of my head was a few years ago, one of the earlier Facebook groups for, I think it was like SA Fishing or Fishing SA or one of those sort of local Facebook chat group things, decided to do a bit of a meet and greet down at Rapid Bay. For a weekend where all the members could sort of come along, have a bit of a fish, meet each other, camp out, have a few beers. And, that was really good. We went down there and I got down there quite early. I was one of the first people there. So set up my tent and did that nice and quick. And then I decided to get into a bowl of jacks while I was meeting everyone and waiting for everyone. And, about 5 hours later, the bottle of jacks was gone. And one of the boys had a brainstorm idea to go out for a bit of a fish, and there was no way in hell I was, touching my kayak, because I was just, obviously, I'm the one that polished off the ball of Jack. So we thought we'd have a crack in his canoe. He had one of those old big Canadian style canoe things.
Okay.
And we had it down. We had it down on the water's edge, and he was in there. And I went to jump in, and I put my left foot in there, and boom, went straight over the other side into the drink. Right? That was cool. No worries. That happens. Everyone's laughing at the pissed idiot. Rah rah. And I thought, no worries. Let's try this again. Put my right foot in, went straight over the other side into the drink. We did that about 5 times before we decided to give up on the prospect of fishing.
So you left a good first impression then, Dan.
I left a great. Look, I'm actually still really good mates with those guys, and mate, you reckon they let me live it down? So every time something stupid comes up, they're bringing it back up again. But look, I love the banter, mate. It's a bit of fun, and that's what brings us all together. So
That's certainly what it's all about. The good times and the banter, and a couple of fish on the side's always a bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes.
All right, now tell us about the business, the Fishing Guru. So you're online on eBay and in a number of retailers around Adelaide. Tell us about sort of how you got into it and what it involves.
So we never actually set out to establish a business. So where it originally came from was I used to take my mates out a lot. And I've got a lot of mates that aren't necessarily what you'd call fishermen. They don't know how to tie a rig, don't know how to tie a knot. As many times as you try to show them, they're just not interested. But so what we used to do is we used to take them out, and you'd put fuel in your boat. You take your boat out, your fuel. You fill up the esky with your piss that they're drinking, because obviously you're doing the responsible thing. You take them out all day, and then the problem is you'd spend all day on the water tying up rigs for them and wouldn't get a chance to fish for yourself. So I used to make them stop at a tackle shop or a servo on the way through and buy their own rigs for the day. I'd make them buy half a dozen rigs for the day. And the problem is that in the market at the time, there's a lot of good options now, but back then there wasn't a lot of great options. A lot of it was sort of cheaper, imported, machine-tied stuff. And, the first fish that they get, the hook would untie itself, or the line would snap. And that was really frustrating because, again, I was stuck in the same position where, we've invested all this time and money to take them out, and I couldn't have a fish myself. So we thought, no, this isn't good enough. So one day I sat down and I was watching a fishing show on TV, and I got inspired, and I tied up about probably 30 whiting rigs, just paternoster whiting rigs, the same ones that we normally use. And I thought I'll just put them up on eBay and see what happens. And we actually sold out in a couple of hours.
Oh, wow.
And, so I thought, well, that was encouraging, obviously. So the next day I sort of sat down and tied up 100, and I put them up, and we sold out within 24 hours. So that we realised there was probably a little bit of it didn't hurt, mind you, it didn't hurt that we put photos up of the whiting that we caught on them, and Tumpy Bay sort of groups whiting are a good size, so it made us look a little bit better trying to sell these rigs to show that they work. But from there we decided there was probably a little bit of a requirement for them, and we sort of took the money from those rigs and reinvested it into more line, more hooks, more tackle. We introduced a couple more rigs, and then every week since, mate, we just take we've taken the money from the business and just reinvested it and tried to grow as much as we could, which was really good. We started looking for other gaps in the market that we could fill, and a few years ago we came to the conclusion that we're probably never going to be the next Daiwa or Akuma. So we kind of decided that we wanted to focus on teaching others what we've learned through fishing, and then we established a YouTube channel where we try and upload a lot of how-to videos, how to fillet fish, how to tie this knot, how to make a rig, how to do this and stuff, which has been received really well. And also a lot of the money that's come in, we've invested into a lot of community-based stuff as well. So make sure that I don't really pull anything out of it. We try and reinvest into good causes. So we sponsor a lot of competitions, a lot of charity-based competitions. I am an ambassador for an amazing local charity called Backpacks for SA Kids, and through that ambassadorship, we've done a lot of fundraising, and we've had a lot of fun. We actually put on a marathon a couple of years ago as a fundraiser, and I don't know if any of you guys have seen me on socials or YouTube or whatever, but I'm a pretty big bloke, and there was no way in hell I was running a full marathon. So where New York and whatever have a 5K, we decided we'd do something a bit different and put on a 0.5K marathon.
Did you take that out, Dan?
Sorry?
Did you take out the 500 metre race, did you?
No, I wasn't allowed to run it. I was on the organisational side. So,
yeah.
We had an amazing winery up in McLaren Vale. Loved the idea and came to the party and helped us out a lot, donating their property and a lot of money from the bar on the day and stuff. But we thought we'd mix it up a bit, and at the halfway mark, so at 250 metres, we put a donut refresher station.
Perfect.
We had a band afterwards and a lot of drinks flying in. Yeah, it was a really, really good day. So the business has allowed us to do that and put back in, and that's sort of the focus that we really wanted to go down the path of. And another thing that we sort of really, really feel really strongly about is trying to bring manufacturing back home here, and supporting as much jobs here as we can as well. So we never wanted to be a buy and sell type business model. We didn't want to buy from China essentially and then on sell. We have a few products, but we're slowly weeding them out and replacing them with what we can here. So just recently we've managed to organise a couple of sort of local tradespeople, much more better at welding and whatever than myself, to make some products locally. So that's really encouraging. We're sort of growing in that space a lot. We make a lot of stuff ourselves as well. We're slowly getting there. So
that's fantastic, mate. Really good community spirit about the business, obviously, with everything you're doing, and it's a inspiration. I think bringing a lot of that stuff back on shore is a great cause, and that's excellent for supporting the community, particularly when we see times like these, mate. Keeping more people in jobs in our own backyard is really important, so that's a real credit to you, mate.
Yeah, that's absolutely right, mate. I think if we all support each other and sort of help each other grow through this, I think as Australian economy in general is probably going to be better for it.
Absolutely.
So our mantra is essentially local supporting local, and we got a big break last year with one of your previous guests, actually, Boyd Sparrow from House Tackle.
We're just going to ask about Boyd, actually, so tell us about that.
So, we got a really big break from him last year. So for 10 years, we really struggled. We struggled a lot. It's a really tough industry to essentially try and make your product here in Australia and make it yourself. It's a really tough industry to compete against the cheaper Chinese stuff that's flooded the market. So we really did struggle. We spent 10 years begging tackle shops to take on one or two different items, and it was really tough. And then last year, I was actually approached by Boyd, one of your previous guests of House Tackle and Let's Go Fishing store as well. And he's been making a lot of waves in the market for a couple of years now on his bait. So the Housey Tackle bait has really sort of taken the bait market by storm. They're putting out sort of the ultimate premium quality bait at a good price, and they're doing very well for it. And last year he came to me and he said, "Look, mate, I need to look into a tackle range, and because of his the way that he wants to support local as much as he can as well, he approached us and we sort of sat down and we numbed out a bit of a catalogue, and since then it's just been going gangbusters. So we've got just stores ordering, like just this last week I've tied up 720 rigs just for one store that ordered wholesale. So it is just absolutely crazy, and it got to the point where I've been working full time as a retail store manager for 11 years or so, and like to make sure that we covered the mortgage while we reinvested all our business money.
Yep.
And it got to the point where I could actually leave that job and focus on this full time. And he's really helped. They've really been supportive of us, and they've helped us out a lot. They've got us a couple of days a week in the Let's Go Fishing store, just to sort of help us out with that mortgage payment.
Yeah.
And it's also it's great. I love it. Like, who hasn't wanted to work in a tackle shop?
Oh.
We've all talked about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, look, the reality is, my salary's essentially been cut in half, but oh my God, I love the job so much more.
Yes.
It makes such a massive difference when you really, honestly, genuinely enjoy what you're doing. So.
Yeah, it's great to see some South Australian fishermen all supporting each other and supporting each other's businesses, which is great. Now you said, Dan, you tied 700 rigs, that's certainly a lot. Do you tie all the rigs yourself, all the shark tracers and the whiting rigs? Do you make them all?
We hand tie every single rig, mate. So don't look at my fingers. I'm glad it's not a video call because my fingers are pretty chopped up, to be honest with you. 720 is a little more than what we'd normally do in a single week, but that such is the way that the popularity of our brands are heading. So, which is really good. It's really promising. But we hand tie every single one, from the hooks to the spline to we package every single one. My family have been really, really supportive. I've got the best. I don't know how many people can say this, but I've got the best mother-in-law ever. She is just amazing. What I do is I send down, because we make the backing cards for the rigs.
Yeah.
We print out our own labels. We cut our own labels up. We do all the packaging as well, which a lot of people don't realise how much time that takes. Because it's too much for me to tie them, back them, and label them and everything, what I do is I send a whole pile of stuff down to my mother-in-law's, and then a couple of days later, she sends it all back processed. So she's been really, really supportive. My wife and kids have been amazing as well. So when we find ourselves under a bit of load, they're pretty quick to jump in. Obviously, I can't get my kids to tie the rigs up yet. They're a little bit young, but they're really good at the little stuff. Like they'll open bags for me. So, when 720 rigs means 720 bags that have to be opened.
Yeah.
Just by getting the kids to open them up for a little bit of pocket money, it means that's half a second or 1 second taken off my time doing these rigs. So
and it all adds up.
That's right. So very much family owned and operated, really, really supportive. And the Let's Go Fishing and Housing Tackle team have been really supportive of us as well. They help us out a lot as well there. So, and I pretty much feel like part of their family as well. So it's a really, really great sort of little community thing going. So. And
so with everyone else helping doing the other bits and pieces, you personally tie every rig?
That is correct. Yeah. So we're at the point now where it's a little bit too much for me to be able to handle by myself. We do struggle a little bit sometimes to pump the numbers out. So I've reached out to another local rig tyer.
Yeah.
Who I've been keeping an eye on this guy, and I've been watching. I've been purchasing his rigs over the years just to see what the quality and stuff's like, and he holds himself to the same standard that we do. He ties the same snelled knots that we do. And I reached out to him a couple of months ago, and he's actually going to help us with certain components of our rig. So we basically send him a bunch of hooks and a bunch of line, and he ties them up to the same standard that we do, and then I'll be able to integrate those into the rigs. And that will essentially, by taking that time away from me, it'll help us to keep up with the demand, and we can pump out twice as many in the same time. But at the same time, it means that we're not going to China for the machine type stuff like many other businesses unfortunately have been forced to do. So, and it also gives another local guy a bit of cash.
That's fantastic.
Which is really cool. So, which is kind of what we set out to do in the first place. I'd love to have a whole team of people, but the problem is I'm a bit of a narcissist, and I don't trust anybody else to tie them up. So.
That's all right, mate. You're working to it, and it's a real.
Right. When it's got my name on it, I like to sort of think of it as a quality assurance piece. So.
Yeah, you take pride in it. So you can tell by the way you talk about it, Dan. You've been absolutely fantastic. A great supporter of our show, and. We'll be glad to put up plenty of links and things of some of the stuff we've talked about and share with the listeners. Can't thank you enough for coming on the show today, mate. Get around him, Dan Waye, the fishing guru. Get down and meet him if you like down at Let's Go Fishing, and get around it. Thanks again, Dan. Really appreciate it, mate.
Well, thanks, Ace, for the chat, boys. I love your work.
Thanks, Dan. We'll see you later, mate.
Cheers, guys.
Well, that was Dan. Great to hear from him today. What a fantastic guest he was. Let's move on to the fishing news. Rhodey, what's going on around the reservoirs, mate?
Yep, so the Warren and South Parra reservoirs have reopened following the Barossa COVID shutdown. They opened on Friday, April 17. One thing to note is they're pretty high, 91% water in the reservoirs up there. So that will limit a bit of the access land-based. And just a reminder, if you are getting up there, make sure you keep the social distancing rules, because the last thing we want is them to crack down any further on the fishing.
Absolutely. They've been catching a few, Prior to the ban, we were seeing good reports. Silver perch, callop, redfin and the carp were aplenty. So get down there, follow those rules and get amongst it. Rhodey, the Liberal government, in other news, they've announced some relief, haven't they?
Yep, so part of their $650 million jobs rescue package, they've given charter operators 6 months annual fees waived for the 2021 season. So that is certainly a good thing to keep all the charter operators up and running. And other commercial fishing and aquaculture operation fees, so your pro fishermen and the likes, they've had their fees deferred for 6 months. So also good to support them.
Absolutely, and I think they've expected that'll benefit roughly 620 commercial fishermen, 24 aquaculture operators and 80 boat operators, charter boat operators. So that's really good. There's been some bad news in the fishery with some jail sentences. Rhodey, run us through those.
Yep, so these are a couple of incidences that happened over the last couple of years have just gone through the courts. And a bit of a reminder, if anyone was going to do the wrong thing, this is why you play by the rules, guys. A Port Pirie man got a 12-month jail sentence, $7,000 fine and a 5-year fishing ban. He was found in possession of 40 undersized abalone at Moonta Bay in 2018. He then was investigated by fisheries and found to have 965 greenlip abalone. 744 of them were undersized back at his house.
Not good, not good. There's been some more bad news around the York Peninsula, am I right?
Yep. Another $7,000 fine for a local man caught with 5 undersized rock lobsters amongst a load of seafood to an Adelaide fish processor in February 2019. He was also banned for fishing.
Yeah,
so
not good. You got to follow the rules. Just a quick update. We're seeing a bit of this stuff over Facebook. The oyster fishermen across the state are doing it tough. Last year, around June, they had a big shortage of seed, or spat as it's more commonly referred to. South Australia, they generally source most of their spat from Tassie. But last year in June, it had a really bad case of POMS, Pacific Oyster Mortality Syndrome, and that really hit the industry hard. They were on the road to recovery, though. That was June last year. Getting back into it, they expected it was roughly going to be a 3-year sort of, growth again. But obviously, coronavirus and COVID's hit them hard again. Really, all those restaurants, bars, some of those places, they're not buying anymore. So get yourself down to the local fish shop or direct from the wholesalers. If you like oysters like me, follow them on Facebook. Get around them. Coffin Bay, Smoky Bay, Cowell, really good places to buy your oysters from. And natural with a squeeze of lemons, how I have mine, mate. What about you?
Yeah, I certainly got around a couple of oysters over Easter as well. Didn't have a proper oyster shucking knife, so I had to resort to a screwdriver and managed to put a little bit of a divot in my finger, but apart from that, it was all good.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be eating oysters if you didn't cut yourself.
Nah, it's all a part of it.
What's happening in the fishing report, mate? Couple of barrels.
Yes, there is a couple of barrels that we've been hearing. So the Port Mac area is starting to get the 100 kilo tuna. So the first report seemed to have been about April 14th, and the next day, Extreme Marine Charters caught 2 big tuna estimated between 100 and 110 kilos. I'm not sure where they were hiding that day when we went out with Extreme Marine Charters, but it was a good day out nonetheless.
So we got donuts. We covered a lot of land, a lot of ocean that day, and really donuts. Nothing. What's happening on the local tuna front though, Rhodey? They're still getting a few?
Yeah. Seem to be out wide, out at the Pages and Saunders Bank and round past Parsons Beach. So they're sort of scattered, but well worth the miles if you live down that way to get out and get some late season tuna. Absolutely. And the southern beaches, they're firing with some salmon, trout and mullet. You've had some, soon-to-be father-in-law, no doubt. No, Lucy's dad, Richard, been out, caught a couple of mullet on the beach and put them on the barbie, so he was pretty happy with his feed there.
Yeah. He would have been enjoying it. Probably a sunset and a couple of beers for Richard, I would have thought, and gone on to a few.
Nothing quite like it, mate. Couple of sunset beers on the beach.
Absolutely. The Murdoch boys down at Yorks, they've been out whiting fishing, seen a few snaps floating around, and they got onto the snapper. Yeah, so had the whiting rigs out and bit of bycatch, the snapper. So that's a good sign for the fisheries. And at the end of the ban, we'll get out and catch plenty. Yep. Obviously, being the responsible anglers they are, they put them straight back, looked after them, put them back safely. Yeah, and the salmon, we've seen a few reports down at Waye. That's a good activity if you like a bit of a walk down the beach and ocean fishing.
Yeah, and finally, the reports of blue swimmer crabs are, scattered. There's a few here and there, but it seems to me that they're dropping off and the season is coming to an end.
Hot off the press though, Rhodey, one other thing we'd like to mention, the Rapid Bay Jetty. Seems as though there have been some good fish there. What have they caught?
Yeah, well, there's a photo floating around on Facebook. Some of our listeners may have seen it. It certainly looks to me like maybe a 4 or 5 foot mako shark caught off the Rapid Bay Jetty by the looks.
Impressive. It's a good spot down there.
And there's been a few kingfish photos floating around from the Rapid Bay Jetty. So if you're down that way, obviously don't travel because that's frowned upon. But if you live down that way, that's where I'd be setting up my deck chair and hunting for something a bit bigger.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up the fishing report. All right, our second guest for the show today, Leigh from Leigh's Marine. What an absolute treat to have you on the show. Thank you very much for coming on, Leigh. How you going, mate? Yeah, good.
Thank you.
Excellent. Rhodey, we'll hook into those 5 questions straight away with Leigh, I reckon, today, won't we?
Yeah, welcome aboard, Leigh. So can you start off by telling us about your best fish?
My best fish? Well, I haven't got too many raving reports as previous guests have had, but don't ask my wife. She hates me going fishing because I come home empty-handed. But I still enjoy getting out there. I think my best fish would be a snapper, probably an 8-9 kilo fish. Nothing to rain play about. But my biggest fish for my career. Anyway, I'm still playing the waiting game like everyone else now, waiting to get back out there and get back on. But I've had a few good times on the red. It's good fun, reeling in that big fish. Need to crack that good meter mark though, the 10 to 14 kilo fish. That's the aim. So.
Oh, absolutely. They're big thumpers when they get that big, and you're not wrong. Once the snapper band's over, we'll be back out there harder than ever.
Yeah, from all reports, I think they're getting pretty thick. So when it opens, it's going to be like, it'll be like Cole trying to buy toilet paper. It'll be every man for themselves out there.
Absolutely. Leigh, what's you have told us, mate, you're not an avid fisher like all of our other guests, but you still must enjoy getting out there, mate. You're flat out at work most of the time. What's the favourite thing about fishing when you do get out there?
Yeah, I certainly enjoy getting out there. Any chance I'll get to water test the boat, I'll take my time. But no, I like getting out there. Just fresh air, relaxing, sitting there, bumping up and down the water. There's beats being at work, and any fish is a bonus for sure. We do a little bit of fishing away, like Wallaroo and Black Point and stuff like that. So those trips are always weekends away, and the whole ordeal of going away, and it is exciting and good to get away and be up on the water for sure.
Yeah, certainly that's what it's all about, Leigh. And what was your first fishing memory, or what got you into fishing, mate?
Boats in general. I mean, as a young kid, we had my grandparents had a shack at Winter Bay that we'd spend, with our cousins and brother and sisters up there every weekend with school holidays. We spent a lot of time there. And my dad's first boat was like an 13-foot Bondwood fiberglass thing, this custom. I mean, I look back at photos now and I'm embarrassed for him. It was disgusting. But when I think back to those days, I just remember him taking us kids out. We're talking 20 odd years ago. The whiting creek. It was just you throw your line, drive for 10 minutes, and drop your line. There's 10 whiting in the boat within a minute. It was good fishing back then, and Port Hughes and Cape Elizabeth. I mean, there's still good fishing there now, but those days, the memories I have of Dad taking us out when we were real young, and just fish. Fish will come over the side and get scared of them. Crabs, their claws, you jumping up and down. Just those fun memories that I look back now, and I've got two young boys myself. Looking forward to getting them out in the boat to share those same experiences with them for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And would that be your favourite thing about fishing, or your favourite sort of fishing, do you reckon? Sort of the whiting and crabs, some of those York Peninsulas?
Certainly. I do enjoy snapper fishing. It's in saying that the amount of times that I've gone and not caught a thing, or not caught, any legal fish, it makes it frustrating, and that's why my wife laughs at me. She says the same thing. All the gear, no idea. Once a month, if I get out, every few months. Whiting fishing, I generally am better at, and don't come home empty-handed. And whiting, squid, and that sort of blue crabs, they come together. So especially in the winter months.
Yeah, certainly.
I'm from also from Port Pirie, and they get some thick. The silver whiting come through the creeks there, sort of this time of year now.
Yeah.
And it's such good fun. Like you go in there a couple of years ago, Dubs was in there, and it was just me and him, and he's like, just be careful, you don't have to. It's only shallow water. And first drop, bang, whiting on you, you jag your rod, and bang, the whole sinker, the whole rig's out the water, the fish is out the water. You're only fishing, half a dozen foot of water.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different. And he's like, yeah, Leigh, just relax a bit, mate. A little bit less on the hooks.
Bit more finesse needed.
Yeah, a little bit more finesse, just a little tag, and really like should that. So definitely enjoy that sort of fishing. Getting a bag of whiting, it's harder to find these days, but much more rewarding than catching one snapper sort of thing.
Yeah.
Any funny fishing stories for us, Leigh?
Funny fishing stories? Not too many. I've probably got we do a boys trip to Black Point every year, and half a dozen lads go over there. Just drink beer, and every year I take a boat. And the first 2 years the wind blew 30 knots. There was no chance. We didn't even take the tide ends off the boat. Year after I was keen, and I towed my dad's boat up from Pirie up there, and two of my mates was like, all right, let's go. Then on the Saturday, and got all the way out to the spot, rough as guts. So I was like, yeah, she'll be right. And then we finally dropped the anchor, swung around. I wasn't really happy. I was looking at the fish finder. I wasn't really happy where I was sitting. I thought I'd better try and start the boat up, and I'll move around. Went to start it, nothing. Just crank. And I was like, here we go. My mates are looking at me like, mate, you're the mechanic, you sort it out. So about 15 minutes later, fault finding, and ended up pulling all the fly up, and the fuel line all split under the floor. And meanwhile, my mate's sitting there having a cigarette, and I've got fuel all over my hands, and they're just out in the boat. And we're looking at each other like, really? And finally got the engine started, a bit of race tape and a few cable ties here and there, and I said, what do you want to do? I don't know if this thing's got to run for 5 minutes or, the 45 minutes thing back to the ramp. So we better head back. I was like, just give me one cast. So we dropped. I just done a drift over the wreck that was there. Bang! It had like a big 6-7 kilo fish.
Oh, perfect.
My mates looked at me like, let's just get out of it. Let's not push our luck. I was like, all right. Yeah. I got all the way back to the ramp, put it back to neutral, and the thing just died. And it wouldn't start again. And we just rolled into the ramp. And I was like, talk about timing. So,
yeah.
It's good.
Any other time.
Yeah. Now, Leigh, tell us about the business. So you've got your mobile mechanics business, fixing up everyone's boats and things like that. Tell us about that, mate.
So we run a full mobile service covering all areas of SA. So we go, predominantly Adelaide and North Eastern, but we cover everywhere over the Adelaide region, and country towns, Yorks. I was just in Corny Point last week. Next week I'm going to Black Point, Maitland. So it's just a matter of depending on where people are and coordinating jobs. And predominantly most of my work is service and repairs, and then we do a lot of electrical, anchor winches, GPSs, battery systems, all that sort of thing. And then engine repowers, new engines, second-hand engines. Setting everything up to anything to do with the boat, we can do it.
You can do it. Yeah.
A lot of marina work. I just had a 40-foot boat out of the water this week. Doing all the repairs on them, so we do a few of them.
Yeah.
Try not to do too many of them because my back and my knees don't like it too much. Working in those quite awkward spaces, but yeah, it's certainly all part of the job.
Yeah.
Got another guy that works for me as well, so we have two of us on board there, go there and drive to people's houses. You know, I think that's the reason why I started the business. You know, I was working for another dealer for 10, 12 years. Saw the opportunity that was, people have to, hook their boat up, bring their boat in. We do the repairs and have to come back, pick it up, go home, reverse it in their tight driveways, in their sheds, and all the hardship that comes with all those things. And I thought, set up a mobile business, and yeah, it took off pretty quick. Word of mouth, Adelaide's a small place.
Yeah.
Anyone with a boat that's got a mate, he's got a boat, and it just spreads like wildfire. So yeah, it's been a good adventure. It's been 7 years I've had the business going for now.
Yeah, good.
And it's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we pretty much got in contact with you the exact same way, Leigh. Just sort of really good reviews.
I thought that. How did you get my contact?
Yeah. Well, we got it through just basically on Facebook, word of mouth, the same sort of thing you talk about. Just nothing but good reviews about how you went about it. And I must say, we were very impressed. Just pull up with albeit that we sort of ended up at the wrong address, I think, to start with, Leigh, didn't we?
that was pretty funny. Lucky that person didn't answer the door. I had all my tools set up. It was done.
They would have looked at you a bit funny if they didn't have a boat in the backyard, thinking what you were doing there to service a boat that didn't exist. No, it was really good. Just sort of extremely efficient. Definitely, no question, competitive prices, which was fantastic, and really just saved us the hassle of, like you say, bothering driving the boat out, leaving it with someone for a few days, and then having to go out and pick it up again. Just far more efficient, which absolutely no question would suit all of those fishos out there. So we'll be posting your link up on Facebook, and raving reviews from us for sure, mate.
Happy to help out for sure.
Absolutely, and you do, like you said, like plenty of other sort of boat fit outs, electrical work. I suppose your main side of the business is outboard servicing. Would that be right?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's probably 70% of our work would be just straight service and repairs, bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And all the other stuff on top. Yeah.
Yeah, and Leigh, for all those people sitting at home having a listen, what would be your recommendations? What's the best way to look after their outboard? So probably get a service once a year, but what are those things you can sort of do in between those times?
Yeah, look, I think there's a few main things that people need to be on top of, especially when boats sit around. Obviously, like cars, they sit around for sometimes months at a time. It's just not what they want. Regular running them. So even if you say minimum once a month, I generally tell customers every 2 or 3 weeks you should go out there, give the engine a start, run. Only have to be for 5-10 minutes. Depending on what engines they are, but carbureted engines where you have your oil and fuel mixture in your carb, that's just asking for trouble when that dries up. Running them constantly doesn't give the fuel time to evaporate and turn to muck. So doing those sort of things, just regular running, that looks after the fuel system. Also, mainly the water cooling system on the engine. So what happens when we flush it, when we get back from the ocean, you flush it, you think, got all the salt water out, beautiful, but you can never get all the salt water out of an engine. It's just impossible. So, and then what happens is over a period of time, the salt water dries up with the air, and then that crystallizes and sets, and then that's when you start having blockages and corrosion issues. So if you're regularly running them every couple of weeks, doesn't give that salt water and the water that's in the block time set, and doesn't give it the corrosion and the crystallization of the water, and then it keeps fresh water moving through it all the time. It's just the best thing for them. Doesn't give any issues down the track. So that as well as turning the steering lock to lock, shooting the engine up and down 3-4 times, turn the steering, run it, put a bit of grease, bit of CRC over it, and it's just the best thing you can do for them.
Absolutely, they like getting a good run, don't they? And that's a good tip for some people. It's not a big job to get out there for 10 or 15 minutes, once every couple of weeks or a month and give it a bit of a run because I think we can all sympathise with the fact when life gets in the way and you're a bit too busy to get out on the water, you probably don't mind going out and sitting on the boat and hearing it roar for a little while.
Yeah, that's right. Go out, start up, have a beer, and just take your mind off the 5 minutes because that's certainly the biggest killer for salt water and pollution and stuff. So you just got to keep on top of them. Regular service once a year and do all those things. And generally, they're good fuel, good oil, and you don't have any issues with them.
Yep, and Leigh, in this current climate with lots of people working from home, are they keeping you busy, getting you in to service their boats?
Yeah, well, it's really funny you say that because I was only talking about at the end of 3 weeks ago, I guess, when everything sort of got thrown up in the air and everyone's work and jobs and the economy and everything was shut down. I started panicking. I was like, oh God, what am I going to do? But then all of a sudden, it's been busy. I think while they haven't banned any fishing in SA, everyone's a lot of people working at home and got a bit of free time, and they're going out with their family and friends, family and by themselves to solo fishing, and everyone seems to be pretty busy. I mean, I went down last week to water test the boat on a Wednesday afternoon, and the North Haven ramp was just packed.
Yeah.
I was like, we wouldn't see that on a normal work day.
No.
But it's been really busy. We've got heaps of work over in New York sort of get to in the next few weeks, probably next month as well. That'll push over to then. It's been really good.
Well, certainly now that everyone's doesn't have much else to do on their weekends, go out for a fish on your own or get out in the backyard and keep the boat running nicely is about as good as you can do at the moment, Leigh.
Yeah, exactly. Get your tackle in order, get your boat set up, and then it's ready to go.
Beautiful. All right, Leigh. Well, thanks a lot for joining us. So that was Leigh from Leigh's Marine Services. So if you are having any issues with your boat, get in contact with him. He certainly sorted out our boat. So thanks for joining us, Leigh.
No worries, guys. Thank you very much for having me on. And we'll see you catch up next time for your next day. Anyway.
For sure. Thanks a lot, Leigh. Really appreciate it, mate.
No worries.
See ya. Bye.
All right, wasn't that great to have Leigh from Leigh's Marine Services on the line to give us some tips about boat maintenance? Diz?
I especially liked his tip about getting out there on the boat, having a beer and just turning the motor over. That sounds like my kind of go for coronavirus.
Well, that sort of gets us towards the end of the episode today, guys. It's been really great to have two very different guests, but very good. They're both in different areas of fishing. Good to hear from them, and we thank them a lot for coming on board.
Absolutely, it was fantastic. And we're going to be posting all the links to both the Fishing Guru and Leigh's Marine, so get around it on Facebook. You'll see it on there before too long, Rody. We'll have it going before long.
Yep, and it's great to support local SA. They're fishermen, they're businessmen, they're great supporters of the show. They both get around us and interact on social media. So we really want to support those sort of local businesses.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, Rody. Well, that just about wraps up today's episode, but we are due for your horrible joke, I suppose.
This one's quick. We've had a long episode today, so I'll keep it brief. Diz, why didn't Noah do much fishing on the ark?
Not sure, mate.
He only had 2 worms. That's some sharp work, mate.
Horrible. All right, guys. Well, that does wrap up today's show. What a shame it ended like that, but that's all right. We'll look forward to episode 6. I hope you're all staying safe out there. Tell us what you think on the socials, and we'll look forward to hearing from you soon.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Cheers.
Rody and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.